Good afternoon. This is Ron Mickens. Fraud upon the court. The truth is in the details. So stay with me. Stay with me. We're going to start with Jerry Hill, the man who got it all started, who perpetrated it all. So Jerry Hill asserted, he maintained, and he perpetrated his fraudulent, frivolous misrepresentation that Ron and Gloria Mickens transferred our property to Damron Construction Company. Let's make no mistake about it. He did this to avoid, avert, circumvent, omit his obligation, his requirement, his lawful duty to conduct a fair and impartial investigation. He did this to omit charging, prosecuting, arresting, and imprisoning Ms. Canady, Stewart Title of Polk, Stewart Title Guaranty Company, Rewis, and the Damron, the co-conspirators. They were inextricably tied together. Jerry Hill, he covered it up to extricate these co-conspirators, Ms. Canady, Ms. Rewis, from liabilities and responsibilities for their crimes and their torts. So make no mistake about it. Don't make a mistake about it. He's doing it for one reason. The major reason is for the blood money. He's covering up. He sent us this affidavit for me and my wife to sign with this trick in it. This trick was that fraudulent misrepresentation, saying that we transferred our property to Damron Construction Company. In other words, he was saying that Ms. Canady had just made a mistake. Also, he put that same fraudulent misrepresentation in his complaint affidavit, trying to trick us into going along and giving our consent after we had already rejected and objected to his fraudulent affidavit. We had went to Mr. Hill and we had pleaded, we had demanded, we requested that they conduct a fair and impartial investigation into the theft of our property. We went everywhere. We went to the sheriff numerous of times. So we got this affidavit back, and we detected that he didn't conduct an investigation. He conducted a cover-up. A cover-up. That's what it's all about. So make no mistake about that. And this affidavit is to what? Circumvent or omit, to hold him harmless for not doing his job, which is to investigate, charge, prosecute, arrest, and imprison these people for their crimes. But he's trying to protect them, extricate him, and just ignore the victims. Okay, let's talk about Miss Canady for a second. Miss Canady, we'll make sure she was a title insurance agent. She was the issuing agent. She was a title researcher. She was notary public, and she was a closing agent. She wore all these hats. Jerry Hill and his experienced economic investigator, Don Bill, they knew, like they know, the back of their hands, that Miss Canady misconduct was manifold and egregious, outrageous. Okay, she's wearing all of these hats, outstandingly bad, just unconscionable. She committed every crime and tort that a title insurance agent could possibly commit. They knew this, like they knew it, with the back of their hand. So I hope you can see. I hope you can see the cover-up with this fraudulent misrepresentation, trying to extricate her from her liabilities and responsibilities. Now, the theory of a respondeat superior, vicarious liability, and subrogation is what ties Stewart Title Guaranty Company, Stewart Title of Polk, the Damrons, Canady, and Rewis together. Stewart Title Guaranty Company is vicariously liable for its employees and agents' misconduct that they committed during the course and scope of their employment. In other words, Stewart Title Guaranty Company stands in their place when it comes to liability. So now we have established that they are what? Co-conspirators. They are co-conspirators. They are inextricably what? Tied together. So they conspire. And let me make sure we understand that, because when Miss Canady committed these egregious acts, Ms. Rewis committed these egregious acts, that also meant that Stewart Title Guaranty Company, Stewart Title of Polk, and the Damrons was part of it. Okay, they were all co-conspirators. So they conspired and agreed to violate Florida Statute 117, Florida Statute 117.05, Florida Statute 117.105, Florida Statute 117.107, Florida Statute 117.117, Florida Statute 68901, Florida Statute 812.014, Florida Statute 817.034, Florida Statute 831.01, Florida Statute 831.02, Florida Statute Chapter 65, and Florida Statute Chapter 66, etc., etc. The co-conspirators, when it comes to statutory and common law, they conspired and agreed to commit notary's failure to validate signatures, malfeasance, and misfeasance in the conduct of their official duties, falsely or fraudulent took an acknowledgement, notary performance of prohibited acts, false witnessing a quitclaim deed, false notarizing a quitclaim deed, building houses under false pretenses, extortion, forgery, uttering a forged instrument, fraudulent conveyance / transfer, fraudulent encumbrance of our property with a mortgage, fraud in the inducement of us and Chase, fraudulent conversion of title, mortgage fraud, wire fraud, bank fraud, real estate fraud, slander of title, civil and criminal, conspiracy, equitable, estoppel, intentional and negligent infliction of emotional distress, fraud, civil theft, statutory fraud, organized fraud, scheme to defraud, racketeering. Okay? Mrs. Canady, she confessed. She confessed from the beginning. So anytime you confess your guilt, there is really no requirement for a trial. We are entitled to a judgment against them as a matter of law, and the state attorney is required to arrest them and imprison them. Why would you need a trial if someone have already confessed to their guilt? And you got to remember, Ms. Kennedy's conduct was beyond egregious. So Jerry Hill, he's trying to cover it all up. And he's trying to cover it up with this fraudulent misrepresentation that we, Ron and Gloria Mickens, transferred our property to Damron Construction Company. Now, this complaint was filed. It was filed, so-called by Damron Construction Company. No, but it was still a Title Guaranty Company who's purporting to be the real party in interest. But none of them had standing, right of action, a cause of action to file a complaint, and especially, as the plaintiff. Okay? They had no rights, because you got to remember, Ms. Canady done already confessed. The only one that could file to this frivolous lawsuit and get away with it was, guess who? Jerry Hill, because it contained his fraudulent misrepresentation that Damron was the owner, that we had transferred our property to Damron Construction Company. That is his cover-up. Okay, he filed this to maliciously prosecute us and to maliciously misuse and abuse the legal process. We objected. We objected 100% to this fraudulent misrepresentation. Judge Strickland ruled in our favor. He entered judgment on our fraud, cancellation of deed, quality title, ejectment, and breach of construction contract claims and causes of action. Didn't that prove that Jerry Hill failed to do his job? He failed to investigate. Judge Strickland found that Damron Construction Company committed fraud in misrepresenting the nature of the deed, fraud in inducement of us and Chase, fraud in the execution of the deed, fraud in the formation and performance of construction contract, fraud in maintaining and obtaining a claim to fee simple title to our property. Doesn't that prove that Jerry Hill failed to investigate and failed to do his job? Okay? He is trying to use this fraudulent misrepresentation to extricate them from their fraud. And don't forget, Stewart Title Guaranty Company, Canady, Rewis, Harman-Highsmith, and Damron, they're barred. They're precluded. Okay? They're stopped from even making such an allegation because they didn't already confess that they had fraudulently executed and fraudulently witnessed a deed. And Miss Canady was the issuing agent. She was the notary public. Okay, she had fraudulently encumbered our property. Okay, she had committed all kinds of egregious acts. And I just read you. And I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not an investigator, a law enforcement investigator. But trust me, Jerry Hill and them knew this, like they knew the back of their hands. Okay. So, now, Jerry Hill have instituted this lawsuit to maliciously prosecute us, okay, to maliciously misuse and abuse the legal process. But now, Judge Strickland, after he done ruled in our favor, Jerry Hill is part of the conspiracy. So this is why Judge Strickland has to come up with his own personal, unique remedy to extricate Jerry Hill from his fraud, from his negligence, okay? And he's got to come up with his own personal, unique remedy to extricate the co-conspirators from their crimes and their torts. He has to join the cover-up, okay? After he disqualifies himself, refused to sign his own final judgment on our counterclaim. Judge Moore comes in and she uses, we all know, she came in and used this non sequitur, claiming that we could have been much clearer about what our desire was in our attempts to rescind the contract. And this was for us to exchange 27 claims in our favor, where we would be awarded damage, fees, and costs in exchange for one claim where we got to pay the losers. We got to pay the losers over $400,000. Okay, so stay with me. But the only way that they can do it, they're trying to trick us, and they committing this criminal act by supplanting, replacing, omitting, ignoring, aborting, abandoning, dismissing the trial judge findings of facts and conclusions of law. That's unheard of in this country. You can't overturn a judge. They're binding. They're protected. His findings is protected by res judicata and collateral estoppel / claim preclusion and issue preclusion. These claims cannot be what? Relitigated. But the judges got to join the conspiracy because it's simple. If you do an investigation, You take Ms. Kennedy's confession. You take Judge Strickland's findings. You take our investigation, which we conducted our investigation. That's how we came up with our claims and causes of actions, okay, supported by statutory laws and the common law. We are entitled to a judgment on our plea. We are entitled to a judgment, summary judgment. We are entitled to a judgment as a matter of law without even having to go to trial. So, I think you got it. But listen now, the judges, they got to deprive us of our damages. Remember, too, the judges got to use fraud upon the court to replace Judge Strickland, the trial judge, findings. In other words, they sacrificing us. They sacrificing the victim. They're depriving us of all of our constitutional and civil rights. They turning the bad into being the good, and the good into the bad. They turning the winners into being the losers. They turning the honest ones into being the dishonest, and the dishonest into being the honest. This is what? Fraud upon the court. Now, you cannot forget this, so stay with me. Jerry Hill, he omitted, he averted, he circumvented, he avoided his obligation, his requirement, his lawful duty to conduct a fair and impartial investigation, to charge, to prosecute, to arrest, and imprison the co-conspirators, Stewart Title Guaranty Company. Well, he got to punish Stewart Title Guaranty Company, Damron Construction Company, and Stewart Title of Polk. He got to punish their businesses. But he's doing this to avoid investigating, arresting, charging, prosecuting, and imprisoning the criminals. Okay? They have committed a crime against society and a crime against us. And Jerry Hill and them know these people are 100% guilty because he's already investigating them on behalf of Stewart Title Guaranty Company for organized fraud, schemes to defraud, grand theft. Now, our case just enhanced his investigation, but he in turn covered it up. I think it's unequivocally clear that this is a cover, and he started it off. He turned the judges. He turned the judges against us. The judges violated the law. And I know it's hard for a lot of us to hear, but they all have to be what? Held accountable. They all have to be held accountable for their criminal misconduct. Make no mistake about it. He did this to extricate the co-conspirators from their crimes. Okay. Now, you got to hang in there. You got to hang in there because I'm going to be coming back. Like I always like to say, in the words of Ida B. Wells, the way to correct wrongs is to shine the light of truth upon them. Okay, stay with me. Miss Canady confessed she was a notary, issuing agent. She was a title closer. She was a title insurance agent. She was a title researcher agent. What she did was egregious. It was the worst of the worst. And Jerry Hill started covering up. He was already familiar with Stewart Title. So he started covering up. He and Don Pell, from the very beginning, their crime and torts with this major lie. So, think about it. Subscribe, share, and I'll see you the next time.